The video emphasizes practicing various geometric operations, such as working with lines, angles, and dimensions, alongside commands like mirror and centerline. The lesson also includes exercises focusing on the circular pattern and tangent functions. Utilize commands like arc circle and quadrant on OSNAP. Creating reference points and understanding quadrants info are vital concepts in model detailing.
Let's continue our learning with Lesson 10. In this video, we're going to work with some operations like multiple lines, angles, XY axis, and dimensions. We're also going to learn about the command mirror, line, edit dimensions, and we're also using the command center line. So let's go. We'll start by creating a new drawing. As usual, I'm going to use a geometry that is already drawn as an example. We're going to habilitate the multiple lines tool, and we'll draw the geometry's outline, from origin following to below. We'll create this angled line with any value, as we're going to use XY axis command, okay? For that one, we add measurements on X, X, and Y, instead of adding it to the angle when it's unknown. So don't worry very much about it right now. All right, we'll continue our geometry, following these measures right here on the side. Add 16 to XX, 8 to XY, and 33.5 on XX again. Easy peasy, right? Here we have the angle measurement and the thread length, so we're not using the command XY axis here. Instead of that, we're calculating something on our angle. First, we're opening our parentheses, considering a 180 degrees angle as a reference. We'll add 72 degrees, which is shown here on our example. We're going to close our parentheses, so we'll have a 252 degrees angle, correct? All right, now we're adding a measure of 21.05. Then we'll type a ratio of 10.4 on XX. As you can see, there's another line that has an angle and length. Because of that, we're typing an angle of 75 degrees here, and we'll set the length as 30. Following that, we'll add a measure of 5 to XX and 5.98 on XY. We're going to do the same thing here, right? So let's add an angle of 37 degrees on this one. But for doing so, we'll need to create a new formula. With 360 degrees as a reference, we'll deduct 37 degrees, which will result in a 323 degrees angle. Now, we're adding the length of 25 and following through the remaining quotes. On XX, we'll add a measure of 30 and 5 on Y. On this line, we're adding any measurement because we'll apply the command XY axis as well. We'll click on Finish and add our measures. Oh, by the way, a quick reminder that you can leave any doubts or difficulties you might be having in the comment section below. There's no problem if you need to pause this video and review any previous ones to understand the tools better. For this line right here, we're selecting the XY axis, and we'll add the asked quotes. It'll be 16 for XX and 20 on Y. Confirm them like this. And here we'll select the XY axis option again with the measures of 30 on XX and 25 on XY. Now we're going to select all of our geometry, like that. And we're choosing the mirror tool to, well, mirror our geometry. We'll put the mouse over XX to have our center line as a reference. You can also type 0 degrees as an angle, as it is one of our quadrants of our polar coordinations, okay? As the last steps, we're confirming our operation, and we'll select the line tool to close up our geometry. Just erase any unnecessary quotes and change the position of the remaining ones. Then we're altering the general scale to 2.5. We're adding our center line, and we're done. In this video, we're following our training up with exercise 11. We're going to study the commands circle, dimensions, circular pattern, and tangent. I bet you've heard of them before, and this one's easy. You'll see. Open a new drawing and select the command arc circle. And from the origin point, we're opening a circle with radius 87. Select Arc Circle again at the same central point of our last circle. However, this one will have a radius of 100. Habilitate the command line like this, and we'll also habilitate the command quadrant on OSNAP, selecting this point of the bigger circle. Now we're drawing a line with measure 5. Habilitate Arc Circle again, and the central point will be the end point of this line we just made, and its radius will be 5. From here, we're selecting this circle geometry, and we'll apply the command circular pattern, and then use the center of the bigger circle as the center of our operation. On this information box, we first add the angle, and in this case, as we want this repetition on the whole circle, we're adding an angle of 360 degrees. Okay? Like this. And as the gear will have 35 teeth, we're adding 35 as total. Let's keep same angle checked and click on OK. All right, so now we're selecting the command 3 circle entities and habilitate the command tangent as well. Now click on the circle with a radius of 5 that we just made, and we're repeating it. Habilitate tangent and click on the circle, as you can see. And now there's a new circle, which we're adding a radius of 4. A bit confusing, I know, but it will all make sense. Don't worry. Right here, we're using circular pattern again, with an angle of 360 degrees and a total of 35. Habilitate line partial erase, and let's erase some of the parts until it gets to this shape here, like a wave. See? And we'll delete all the other circles, leaving only the bigger ones. We'll select that geometry and use the circular pattern just like before. Now we can erase the circle with a radius of 200, and we're drawing the remaining circles, including this one with a radius of 65 that is on our center line. To draw the 6 circles that are on the gear, we're going to habilitate the arc circle, and then quadrant, so we can have it as the center of our circle. We'll select this circle right here and make a circular pattern. The angle is the same, 360 degrees, and the total will be set as 6. We're almost done. There are just a few more steps. Let's draw those center lines, okay? Habilitate center line and select double, setting our geometry center. Now, using standard, we're selecting the pitch of the tooth of this gear and go to the center. To draw those lines forming an X, with standard activated, we'll select from center to center. As you can see in our reference image, there is a detail on the teeth, right? So to draw it, we're going to select the lines we want to have in that detail and just use the command copy. Now we're giving it a reference point and position the detail wherever we want. Easy. To close this geometry, we're drawing a line without a determined shape, and we'll use the command spline, clicking on the initial point. Create those curves, and after getting to the end point, we'll select Finish. Add the center lines on the detail and quote it all until the drawing looks like our reference image. Finally, on our 12th exercise. Exciting, isn't it? Let's finish our lessons. Like always, open a new drawing. I'll leave this geometry here, and we're selecting Arc Circle. Create a circle with a radius of 90 and another with a radius of 30, like this. We'll habilitate the radius selecting Type and choosing the option Show Radius Value. That being done, let's create the first tooth of our gear. Go to the tool, Multiple Lines, and type the measures of 10 on axis X, 5 on axis Y, and input any value here to close our geometry. We'll delete the line using the tool Line Partial Erase. Select the geometry and click on the tool Mirror and confirm the operation. So now we're erasing the line that doesn't belong to the geometry, and we'll get them together above here using the tool Join Extend. Habilitate the tool fillet, and we're going to shape those corners, inputting the radius of 1.5 that appears right here in the figure. By selecting the geometry, we're clicking on the Circular Pattern tool, and we're going to fill the angle and quantity fields, being 12.86 degrees and 28 teeth. We'll click on Keep Same Angle to maintain the same angle to every tooth. After doing so, we're erasing the pattern created, leaving only this geometry that represents a pitch and a value of the gear teeth. Again, we're selecting the geometry, habilitate the Circular Pattern tool, and we're inputting the same information we added before, 12.86 degrees and 28 teeth, remembering to click on Keep Same Angle. As you can see, our geometry is almost done. Click on Rectangle and habilitate the relative point so we can have a reference point instead of leaving our rectangle random in our geometry. We're selecting this line and we'll habilitate Offset on OSNAP, creating a line with a distance of 10. We're repeating that operation with the lines that are missing, like that. Now, our last steps. We'll erase the lines that don't belong to the geometry, clicking on the Line Partial Erase command. After that, we're selecting the Fillet tool, and we'll shape those edges with radius 5. Now, we'll choose the geometry and habilitate the Circular Pattern tool, and select the center of the circle as our reference. Input the angle of 90 and quantity of 4. And finally, we're adding the measures missing, finishing our last exercise.